Well, hi, you guys. We are back today with Dr. Megen McBride. She's a naturopathic physician, along with just a functional medicine doctor. She's my personal doctor, and I am so excited that you are doing another, I want to call it like a mini class almost. It's so fun. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shannon Blas. And Megen and I have done, gosh, I think we're on our sixth video. And today we wanted to focus on adrenals, because this is another hot topic. So why don't you kick it off, Megen, or Dr. McBride? I will call you Dr. McBride on the video, and tell us a little bit about adrenals.
Adrenals are so foundational to our health and well-being. It is a master endocrine gland that helps to absorb the impact of stress, of hormone imbalance. Oftentimes, if someone is struggling with their thyroid, I go straight to those adrenals. And so I think that adrenal fatigue is a very, we hear it more often, but to really understand what we're talking about and what it is, it's important for us to understand um, what adrenal fatigue is and how it impacts our daily health and our well-being, for sure.
So is this something that, like adrenal fatigue, how does that happen?
So it's important to understand that adrenals are working for us 24/7. They're constantly creating balance with, we have a lot of precursor hormones in the adrenals that are precursors to cortisol and stress, stress hormones, adrenaline, these kind of hormones that get us up, they get us stressed, they get us out the door. But at the same time, these precursor hormones are also precursors to testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and our ability to pick up the slack if we're having low ovarian function or low hormones being made in our sex organs. So when we're pulling from our sex hormones to continue pushing a cortisol pattern or a stress pattern in our lifestyle or in the body, and it's not always in our lifestyle, it's not always mental emotional stress, sometimes it's just physiological stress. I see people get themselves in trouble if they do really long aerobic workouts. Like these are my triathletes, these are my Iron men and women who are doing really long workouts. They don't realize that they're trying to regulate that blood sugar, trying to regulate that push. Or if we're in like a really stressful business, career, family situation, these can pull from our sex hormones, pull from our ability to regulate the other endocrine system glands to just do what we need to do every day. And so we call it adrenal fatigue it's because we're not getting the hormone end products that we want. But in reality, it's more of like an adrenal imbalance is a fair way to say it.
Okay. And so how does that happen? Is that typically when, like you said, if I'm someone, like I know a lot of women, we kind of learn that, the harder you work out, the more calories you burn, the more you're going to be in shape or maybe lose weight. And we learn sometimes, and if you haven't seen our cortisol video, go back and watch that. Because when your cortisol levels are really high, it can have actually the opposite effect on our body. So the adrenals kind of tie into this as well. But are adrenals affected, like when your estrogen is high or low, or your progesterone or your testosterone? Does that kind of kick in, or is it kind of separate?
So your endocrine system is constantly having a conversation with the brain and the pituitary, the hypothalamus. And so these endocrine organs in the brain are kind of the master. They are the higher level master glands that are sending stimulating hormones back to the thyroid, back to the adrenals, back to the ovaries to make more or less of something. So then as our hormones, especially as women, but as our hormones fluctuate throughout the month, right, we're going to have days of highs and days of low. And so the adrenal is kind of, I say it's like the shocks on a car. The adrenals allow you to kind of take an impact. Maybe it's an impact of a grief or of a loss, or maybe it's an impact of saying, oh, I'm going to go back into a school heart system, or maybe it's the impact of not making enough hormones, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. And then those adrenals will get those receiving messages from the brain to say, oh, okay, well, we'll make more or make less. There's actually 3 layers of the adrenal glands. And so those 3 layers are making, regulating salt in the body. So it's kind of seen like salt regulation in the body, which has such a huge impact on hydration, and on well-being, energy. It's regulating sugar in the body, and it's using cortisol, and it's using steroids, cortisone, to regulate sugar imbalance, meaning we're using our adrenals through the night as we're fasting in our sleep to keep our blood sugar regulated. So if we're having adrenal impact, sometimes we have difficulty going to sleep, staying asleep, a difficulty waking up in the morning with energy. So yeah, I mean, it's impactful in so many areas of our life to get it. And you really don't quite know where it's at. I mean, symptom-based tells us a lot, but blood work is really trumps. It's important for you to understand biochemically where your adrenals are at. And that's usually a saliva test or a urine test. That's how we do that.
Okay. And that's another thing, like, sometimes like I want you, those of you that are listening to this, if you're just not feeling right and you don't know what's going on, you don't want to guess. You don't want to just think, oh, I'm going through perimenopause, or, oh, my hormones are messed up, or, oh, I'm going through menopause. You want to go in and actually get your levels measured, because what I love how Dr. McBride will say, each individual is kind of a puzzle. And you need to get your labs to be able to figure out what pieces of your puzzle need to be adjusted so that you feel better, you're sleeping better, you're waking up with energy, all of these things. So just give us an example. Like if I have low adrenals or adrenal fatigue, my labs or my urine test or whatever, my saliva test, it comes back showing that that is low. What are some of the things that you would have me do?
So it's really important for me to get to know you, to get to know what it is that fuels you. And that means energetically, spiritually. What are you doing in your exercise on a daily basis? How is your diet? How is your lifestyle? Because this will help me to understand, is the fatigue coming from an insulin dysregulation, like maybe insulin resistance? Is it a metabolic issue where the exercise isn't meeting the need of the body to burn calories, or maybe even over exercise can be a consideration, to know where you're at in your hormone history. And it doesn't matter necessarily age, because I think it's important to understand that birth control has a huge impact on our hormone levels in the body, which then have a huge adrenal impact. So it's so individualized medicine. Now, of course, there's beautiful herbs that are adaptogens. There's tonifying herbs. There's herbs that help with adrenal health and function. And so that's a great place to start. And oftentimes I do recommend a client to just grab a really good adrenal supportive supplement to just see, is that enough? Is that enough to fill in and support that gland to help balance the system?
Okay, perfect. And that would be a supplement that we would recommend you get through a naturopath. This isn't something that you want to just randomly go on Amazon and find your own supplement, correct?
Correct. There's so many different types of supplements.
Yeah.
So, and then yes, quality is so important. Sourcing, so very important. And then again, like I said, it's a complicated organ. So just something that says, oh, I'm adrenal fatigue, like this supplement, a generalized supplement isn't even necessarily what you specifically need.
Yeah. And I hope as you guys have been watching kind of our videos and hearing this, I think we want to self-diagnose so much. And, I've had a couple people say, oh, you go to a naturopath. I wish I could do that, but it's not covered under my insurance. And I always tell people, like, you guys, this is like when you are investing in your health and your long-term longevity, It's so worth the investment, because trust me, you will spend more trying to feel better and buying things that maybe don't work or aren't specific for your body than you are if you just get your lab values and your puzzle, start trying to figure out what is going on with your body individually. So is there anything else that you want to add about the adrenals?
I just would say that that don't get overwhelmed with that. But you're absolutely right, 100% in that. Find your guides, find your just find that window into your own body, into your own biochemistry, and it's so empowering. And even, just the investment is, like you were saying, it's so worth it. But at the same time, just getting really general guidelines for yourself will set you on a correct path for the rest of your life, to know, are you, all of this. It's just so important. So
Yeah. And I will add it just to wrap it up that, our bodies are meant to feel good.
yes.
And I've read this from Dr. Mark Hyman, who says every time we eat or drink, we're telling our bodies how to feel. So I just encourage you, if you're listening to this and you don't feel right, you feel like there's something going on, you just feel tired all the time, or you just, you're like, what changed in my body? I always used to do these things and I used to feel so much better. There's probably something going on. That is like the definition of functional medicine, is that there is a reason behind not feeling right or not feeling good. And the more the inflammation builds up in your body, I've heard this analogy one time, I think it's a really good one, is if you think of like a bathtub drain, eventually your body is like a drain. It can get clogged. And if you're not trying to clean that drain, eventually it kind of overflows and it starts to spill into the bathtub. And pretty soon, now it doesn't drain at all. And so if you kind of think of some of the videos that we've done with hormones and hormone health, it's helping your body continue to function properly. And sometimes you need extra help. You need extra supplements. You can't just do it with food and exercise anymore, because our bodies are not creating the same amounts of different hormones, or functioning the same, because our body's gotten inflamed or just kind of tired. So it needs a reset. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay. Well, I think this was great. We got a little snippet of adrenals and adrenal fatigue. I know Dr. McBride could talk for hours on any of these topics, but we want to give you guys just a snapshot of it. And again, we'll put her contact information in the video notes, so that if you want to reach out to her and, chat with her a little more, you will be able to do that. But thank you so much, Dr. McBride. We appreciate you.
Thank you. So fun.
So fun. Okay, we are going to have more videos, so stay tuned. Bye, guys.